Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. President Obama says a strategy on dealing with ISIS terrorists in Syria is developing, and he repeated several times his ultimate objective of defeating the terrorist army that has now overtaken much of Syria and Iraq. But the pronouncement has left some lawmakers unconvinced of both the president's commitment and his ability to rally international support. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry is traveling with the president and reports tonight from the NATO summit in Wales.
While it took 3 news conferences in 8 days to get there, President Obama finally got his message straight on battling ISIS.
To degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL. We are going to degrade and ultimately defeat ISIL. You systematically degrade their capabilities.
As the president hit those talking points again and again, there were no more admissions that he does not have a strategy, and not a word about how the terrorists could become a manageable problem.
You can't contain an organization that is running roughshod through that much territory, causing that much havoc, displacing that many people, killing that many innocents, enslaving that many women. The goal has to be to dismantle them.
So he finally settled on dismantle and destroy as the goal, though the big question will be whether the president and his team can follow through on a strategy to achieve it, with top Republicans charging the president's failure to target ISIS's terrorist training camps over the Iraqi border into Syria has already given ISIS an edge.
The fact that we have let this go, and especially over the last 7-8 months, as we've watched these columns of ISIS fighters travel city by city and have not hit them by the air, this is irresponsible.
There also continues to appear to be daylight between the president and General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the Joint Chiefs. While the president claimed he did not have a military strategy yet to deal with ISIS in Syria because he was waiting on the Pentagon, Dempsey suggested otherwise in a Facebook town hall yesterday, saying, quote, "At the president's direction, we have developed a military strategy with a series of options on how we can initially contain, continue to disrupt, and ultimately defeat ISIL." The day before in Estonia, the president implied again that the military was still tweaking the plan, stressing it was all about getting the details right.
It is very important from my perspective that when we send our pilots in to do a job, that we know that this is a mission that's going to work, that we're very clear on what our objectives are, what our targets are.
The differing statements among senior officials continued today, with Secretary of State John Kerry saying ISIS can be defeated, but it may take years. Kerry declaring, quote, "It may take a year, it may take 2 years, it may take 3 years, but we're determined it has to happen." While the president has also said it will take a long time, earlier this week, a top Pentagon official suggested otherwise.
Well, I don't think that this is a threat that's going to be in terms of years and years and years, but it's certainly one that we have to worry about right now.
To show he's getting serious about taking on ISIS, the president said again today he's sending Kerry to the Mideast to help build a coalition with Arab nations. Though first, the commander-in-chief was thinking about his bucket list, making a pit stop at prehistoric Stonehenge before hustling back to Washington.
Now, about that coalition, a U.S. official tells us they now have 9 other nations providing support in Iraq, but still no coalition for Syria. Secretary Kerry saying today that when it comes to the support in Iraq, there will be no U.S. combat troops on the ground in Iraq, calling it a, quote, red line, although, of course, other red lines have been flexible. Brett?
Ed Henry live.